have one, I might as well use it. Get our bolsters here. Now I can't overemphasize the importance of this, and this is really just for the camera. All this is 6-inch foam cut into about 8-ish inch wide portion. So you want it to be 6 inches thick, and it's just pretty much just a twin mattress foam piece. So you just look up foam bed mattress, 6 inches thick.
Is there a density?
The ones for the bedding
Okay.
do really well. The first things that come up on Amazon.
Okay.
It's just a big, very big eraser. What is it? Magic eraser.
Yeah.
Just Google China magic eraser and cut that up into a bolster. But you really need something like that to make side-lying work. And that's really the most essential piece to this and it going smooth is having that bolster that's stable, square and stable for this top leg. And then that can be adjusted in a variety of ways. Her angle is pretty good here, but if somebody's feeling unstable, or if you need to get their leg hip more into flexion, you can just move the bolster. More into extension, all that. Not too difficult, but you need that bolster. Next thing, now as your draping becomes more precise, you just conditioned to doing it all the time, you won't have to worry as much. However, better to be safe than sorry regarding draping issues, and better to have too much rather than too little in terms of materials for draping. My hack, as opposed to all the stuff, now she already has the sheet tucked underneath her head to have it drawn across the chest, nice and tight. That's helpful and great. However, my favorite hack is just to, if you don't already have a blanket, and usually I would leave the blanket for the lower body anyway, this towel is just where it's at. Goes right over top of the arm. Now this setup, usually you might have to coach a person to bring their arm over and on top of the sheet. And we want that so that we can get to the lateral side of the body and the back more efficiently. But let's just pretend that we don't want a person chilly during the massage. We get the arm over and on top. And when you're in an isolated setting where it's just the two of you, as opposed to somebody being able to see from this angle, it's a lot easier because I can just stand here, lower down, they move their arm, they know I can't see anything, and you end up probably feeling like you have to be more self-conscious in this kind of a setting than if you were in an actual treatment room. But the therapist just stands in the correct position, which is usually going to be on the posterior side of their body, stand on this side of the table, below their head. Then you're not going to be in a position where even if they're moving their arm and stuff, you can just maintain their privacy that way. Once the arm is out and on top of their body, and on top of the sheet, I should say, bring the sheet over top. And now that arm is going to be kept nice and cozy, and then we're going to use this towel for the additional draping that I'll need in order to access the lateral side of the body, work on the arm more effectively, back, all of it. The goal today is predominantly about the limbs, but since we have the time, we're also going to talk just a bit more about side-lying, and it's going to be about getting the back and the torso a bit better. There's some limitations in side-lying regarding getting, there are some limitations of getting the pecs in the same way and getting the anterior upper leg in the same way as you would in supine. And even the arms, it's a bit more clumsy because they're not being pressed into the table. So you have to learn to be able to control the limb and hold the arm while you're massaging it. And it's not too difficult. It's going to end up being a lot of compression plus pull, looking like a knee, but not with the intention for it to turn into the big need action, but just that one hand is stabilizing it as I push with the other hand. That's the biggest hack here. Since we're talking about it, we might as well just show that part to start. Arm's already out, so all I have to do is move the sheet. Now, which way can I move it? I could move it this way, but why not group it this way? The sheet can go across the neck, not hurting anything, but that also offers extra coverage across the chest. And just makes it where if I'm doing any kind of range of motion stuff with the shoulder, I don't have to worry because the weight of the towel is there and the additional coverage across the neck and the chest. I can't think of a simpler way to accomplish this. Now, this is where we can begin with all kinds of range of motions things. And if you, anywhere where you feel like you have to be more cautious related to draping, and it's gonna pretty much be around the shoulders or around the hips, I tend to suggest having your hand make contact with the sheet while doing some of the movement. That way it can't just slip out of the way, right? If I have here, I just hold the towel and I can roll everything here. Sheet's not gonna go anywhere and I can just focus on the massage. I really feel like the number one reason why people don't do a lot of stuff related to the shoulders, lateral side of the torso, all that and sideline is because they're scared of the draping. Oh, they just didn't learn it, right? Now here, what is great about this position is I can really move that glenohumeral joint without it even being these big, like gross movements, right? I can leave the arm in a much more relaxed position and just kind of hug and roll that humerus around. You can make that feel good, feels and looks more like massage than, you know. We'll get to sprinkling in the joint movement assessments once I'm actually getting to other parts of the massage. But this, what I can be feeling for, naturally everything that I'm going to be showing should feel good, like a massage. But I'm going to try to speak more about what my assessment, what my brain is doing in fancy assessment talk. Doing very simple things and thinking very complexly. But I'm feeling for any grinding, any hard end feel. Can I just roll that whole ball and socket joint, and I roll the head of the humerus around that labrum, the glenohumeral joint, and feel like there's nothing catching, no sudden or odd. You will, when it jumps out at you. One of the biggest characteristics of assessment is being able to identify what normal is, so that when you find something that isn't normal, it is very clear. Rolling. The muscles I'm really affecting here in terms of my compression, it's deltoid. Anterior deltoid, posterior deltoid. We can turn this into some traction. But now it's going to be different. It's not glenohumeral joint. Traction of the glenohumeral joint would require me to do something more like this. If I do actions where I'm above the glenohumeral joint, I'm palpating initially the clavicle, but I want my pressure to be more, you can see on the mirror at all, more on the acromion of the scapula. So this is all going to be about scapular movements, okay? My pinky finger, my digiti minimi is holding the towel. Now, this hand has moved from the posterior side of the humerus on deltoid. I moved it down onto the scapula. I'll edit it together. So right now, where this hand is, and we'll see it when I turn on the other side, I'm on the inferior angle of the scapula and trying to push the scapula up into elevation, and then I'm just rolling around. If I grab that angle of the scapula, here's the scapula, it's the exact right arm too. Nope, it's not. That would be wrong. So I'd have to, on the other side of the body, what this would look like is my palm is here, cupping around the inferior angle. And then I'm pushing it up, and then pushing it back and forth like this. The goal is just to unstick it. Get it mobile. And it should feel good. So I can be more just pushing up into elevation, or I can switch my palm and be more on the latissimus dorsi side, but on the lateral side, the lateral line of the scapula, pushing it into retraction and downward rotation, and then I can pull and go the other way. So showing that again. Rolling just the ball and socket, hand comes down, moving the scapula. And you can just make that feel really good.